You returned to your hometown after years away, carrying a simple hope. A warm birthday dinner with your parents and younger sister. Yet at the familiar kitchen table, you hear the news your celebration has been cancelled, the money set aside for you redirected to fund your sister's dream trip across Europe. That moment weighs heavy on your heart, but it also unlocks a door no one expected. Because in this old house, a life-changing truth about you still remains hidden. And on this seemingly ordinary evening, the silence before dinner becomes the spark of something extraordinary, your fight to reclaim dignity. This is where your very own family revenge story begins, one that will leave everyone in shock. You sit at the familiar table, the same wooden surface that once carried family dinners, late-night homework, and countless small moments. The words about your birthday dinner being cancelled still echo in your ears, each syllable pressing down like a weight you thought you'd left behind years ago. You try to smile, to nod, to pretend it doesn't sting, but deep down, it pulls you back through decades of memories, each one sharpening the edges of the truth. In this family, you were always the afterthought. Growing up in Oakwood, a quiet California town where streets ended in rows of trees and neighbors waved as they walked their dogs, your childhood seemed ordinary to anyone looking from the outside. A modest home with faded blue paint, a squeaky porch swing, and flower beds your mother tended every spring. But inside, the balance was always uneven. Your father, Thomas, a reserved engineer, showed love in practical ways. Fixing your bike, changing the oil in your car, installing shelves in your bedroom. His words, though, were scarce. You often received a quiet good job tossed in your direction, while his eyes glowed whenever Sophia walked into the room. He'd lean forward, asking about her friends, her day, her plans, his voice carrying warmth you longed to hear directed at you. Your mother, Laura, was the organizer, the caretaker, the one who made sure every backpack was packed and every dinner hot on the table. She remembered Sophia's favorite color each year and carefully wrapped gifts in the exact shade. For you, the gifts were thoughtful, but distant sweaters in colors you never liked, hobbies you didn't pursue. She never meant harm, but her attention always tilted, pulled toward your sister as if by gravity. And then there was Sophia. 5 years younger, golden-haired, full of charm, and seemingly destined to be adored. From the moment she could walk, she collected applause. Ballet recitals brought flowers, soccer wins brought cheers, debate victories brought celebratory dinners. The living room shelves bent under the weight of her trophies, while your own certificates of perfect grades and honor rolls were tucked into drawers, glanced at briefly before life moved on. You remember vividly the first time the difference became clear. You were 8, proud of your perfect spelling test. Your father smiled briefly, murmured "good job, kiddo," close quote, and went back to his newspaper. That same evening, Sophia, just 3 years old, stacked a few blocks. Your parents gasped, praised her as advanced, and took her out for ice cream. That night, you lay awake, clutching your test paper, realizing praise wasn't given equally. Birthdays were the sharpest reminders. On your 16th, your family skipped dinner because Sophia had a dance competition. At 18, your birthday was remembered 2 days late with a card and a $20 bill. By 21, you stopped expecting anything at all. Each forgotten candle hardened something inside you, though you never said it out loud. Money, too, followed the same pattern. There was always enough for Sophia's lessons, camps, and outfits. When you needed a calculator or wanted to attend a summer program, the budget suddenly tightened. You were encouraged to be responsible, close quote, to find part-time work. So you did. By 16, you were working weekends at the local bookstore, saving for college on your own. Your mother called it admirable. You knew it was necessity. And yet, through it all, you never hated Sophia. How could you? She wasn't cruel. She didn't plot against you. She was simply accustomed to the attention, comfortable in the spotlight that was always hers. In rare quiet moments, the two of you whispered secrets, laughed like sisters should. But those moments faded with time, swallowed by the imbalance neither of you questioned openly. When high school ended, the divide grew wider. Your parents fully funded Sophia's education, even when she changed paths. She abandoned a costly business degree to pursue yoga, and they nodded with understanding, ready to support her journey. Meanwhile, you graduated with honors in computer science. They didn't attend the ceremony, they were busy at one of her showcases. You stood alone in your cap and gown, surrounded by classmates embraced by cheering families. That day, you promised yourself something. You would build a life so undeniable, so unshakable, that even your parents would have no choice but to see you. That promise carried you to San Francisco. You packed your belongings into a used car, drove away from Oakwood, and never looked back. The city was overwhelming, expensive, competitive, unforgiving, but it gave you space to start fresh. In a cramped studio apartment, you worked long hours, living on instant noodles, coding late into the night, pushing yourself beyond exhaustion. While your peers went out to explore the city's nightlife, you explored new programming languages, sketching ideas for something bigger. Every Sunday, you called home. The conversations were predictable. Long stories about Sophia's latest achievements, quick questions about your job, then hurried goodbyes. They thought you were just another employee in a tech office. You didn't correct them. Not yet. Because deep down, you wanted your success to be undeniable before you revealed it. And success did come. Within 2 years, you were promoted, then promoted again. Soon you were leading teams, managing projects that brought in millions. But even that wasn't enough. You had ideas your bosses dismissed as too risky, ideas that could transform education. So you took the leap. You withdrew your savings, secured a loan, and founded Novatic. The early days were brutal. You slept on an air mattress in the office, ate cheap takeout, and lived with constant fear of failure. But you pressed on. And 18 months later, your efforts paid off. A pilot program in underfunded schools brought incredible results. Students' scores improved dramatically, teachers praised the tools, and investors finally noticed. One investor offered $5 million for a stake in the company. That deal changed everything. From a scrappy startup, Novatic became a rising star. Your company grew, your name appeared in major publications, and eventually, Forbes listed you in its 30 under 30. At last, you had built what you once promised yourself. A success too great to ignore. Yet your family still didn't know. They never asked, never searched, never wondered. In their minds, you were still the steady one, the responsible one, quietly working in an office somewhere. When you sent them generous holiday gifts, you explained it away as company-wide bonuses. They didn't question it. They were too busy asking about Sophia's retreats, her yoga certifications, her travels. Jessica, your assistant, was the only one who truly knew. She saw the scale of your success, managed your meetings, and listened when you confessed the truth. They have no idea who I really am. She shook her head, baffled. You're a millionaire CEO, and they think you're just an employee. Close quote. You shrugged. Because in the end, the truth was painful, they never asked. But as your 32nd birthday approached, something stirred inside you. You found yourself staring at an old family photo, taken at Sophia's high school graduation. You smiled then, but you remember the ache of being in the background even in that picture. And you decided. It was time. Time to go home, to face them, to see if anything had changed. You told yourself it would just be a normal visit. You rented a modest car instead of driving your Tesla. You packed plain clothes instead of designer suits. You wanted to arrive quietly, to blend in, to test the waters before revealing anything. The drive back to Oakwood was long but familiar, each mile carrying you closer to the past you had tried to bury. When you finally pulled up to the house, nothing seemed different. The same porch swing, the same faded couch inside, the same family photos where Sophia's face always shone brightest. Your mother greeted you with warmth, your father with quiet pride. Sophia soon burst in, vibrant and glowing, filling the room with energy as she always had. And for a while, it almost felt like nothing had changed. This time, though, things would not end as they always had. The night of your birthday unfolds in a way that feels painfully familiar. Pizza boxes sit on the table instead of the reserved dinner your parents once promised. A small cake from the supermarket rests nearby, your name misspelled with a single letter. You stare at it, trying to laugh, but the ache inside you refuses to be silenced. Your father asks, casually, "Are you still at the same company?" Close quote. The question, so vague, so disconnected from the truth, makes you pause. For years, you've answered with the same refrain. Busy, but good. Tonight, you begin to say the words again. And then, your phone rings. The screen flashes a name you know well. Jessica. Normally, you'd excuse yourself, but before you can move, your mother waves a hand. Go ahead, dear. We know your little office needs you, even on your birthday. Something in her tone pushes you to place the phone on speaker. And in that instant, the air in the room changes forever. Boss close quote. Jessica's clear professional voice says, "Sorry to disturb you, but I need to confirm details for next week. Your private jet is scheduled for 7 a.m. Tuesday for the Paris meeting with the education minister. Should I book your usual suite at Le Meurice, or do you prefer the peninsula this time?" Close quote. The silence that follows is absolute. Your father's fork slips from his hand. Your mother's glass stops midair. Sophia stares at you, her lips parting as though words have failed her. You steady yourself. Jessica close quote. You reply carefully, "I think there's been a misunderstanding." Jessica hesitates, uncharacteristically flustered. "Apologies, Ms. Reynolds. I just saw the official request from the French delegation. They specifically asked for you to present the education plan in person. The board thought chartering would be most efficient. Should I let them know you're unavailable?" Close quote. 3 pairs of eyes bore into you. The secret you've carried for years is no longer safe. There's no way back. "Tell them I review the materials before confirming." Close quote. You say, your voice calm despite the storm inside. We'll discuss travel tomorrow. Of course, boss. And happy birthday. The line clicks off, leaving the room frozen in disbelief. Your father is the first to speak, his voice faint. Private jet. Paris. Boss. Close quote. Your mother leans forward, eyes narrowing. What exactly do you do? Close quote. This is the moment you've avoided, the truth you buried beneath years of silence. You inhale, steadying yourself. I'm the founder and CEO of Novatic. Close quote. You say. We build adaptive technology for education. We work with hundreds of schools across the country, and we're expanding overseas. Sophia lets out a sharp laugh, disbelief flashing across her face. Wait, you? CEO? With jets and suites? Close quote. They're not mine. Close quote. You clarify. They're chartered when necessary for business. But yes, Novatic is significant. We employ more than 150 people. We're growing fast. Your father leans forward, the engineer in him struggling to process. And all those people answer to you. Close quote. Yes. Your mother blinks, as if trying to force the idea into reality. Why didn't you ever tell us? Close quote. You meet her gaze. When would I have told you? Our calls barely last 10 minutes. They're usually about Sophia. You never asked more than whether I still had the same job. Your father lowers his eyes, guilt flickering in his expression. Sophia shifts uncomfortably. Your mother protests, her tone rising. We always asked how work was going. You always said fine, or busy, or good. How were we supposed to know? Close quote. Novatic was in Forbes last month. Close quote. You reply, your voice trembling. We won a national award last year. If you'd ever searched my name, you would have found dozens of interviews. Your father swallows hard. We had no idea. That's exactly it. Close quote. You say quietly. You never thought to look. Your mother lifts her chin defensively. That's not fair. We supported you. Did you? Close quote. You asked softly. You knew every detail of Sophia's yoga classes, her certifications, even her poses. But before tonight, did you even know the name of my company? Or what it does? Close quote. She falters, words dying in her throat. Sophia finally speaks, her voice edged. So you came home to show off? To throw this in our faces? Close quote. You shake your head. No. I came to reconnect. I downplayed my life because I wanted to be seen for who I am, not what I've built. But when my birthday was cancelled again for your trip, it hurt. It always hurts. Sophia's arms cross. Making us feel guilty won't change the past. You hid everything. You pulled away. How could we know? Close quote. Her words sting because there's truth in them. You did hide. You did pull away. But that doesn't erase the neglect. You're right. Close quote. You admit. I stopped trying to be seen. But that doesn't excuse how easily I was dismissed. How quickly my birthday disappeared into your plans. Your father clears his throat, voice low. We never meant to make you feel less important. We thought Sophia needed us more. You've always thought that. Close quote. You reply. And maybe it made sense when we were kids. But I'm 32 years old, and you still treat me like my milestones don't matter. Your mother's eyes fill with tears. We are proud of you. We've always been proud of how independent you are. That's the problem. Close quote. You say. You're proud that I don't need you. You're proud of my absence, not my presence. The words strike hard, and the room grows heavy with silence. Sophia pushes back her chair, her tone sharp. This is ridiculous. You vanish to San Francisco, live a secret life, and then blame us for not knowing. Maybe if you'd shared anything, we'd understand. You look at her, your voice quiet but firm. And maybe if you hadn't been given everything without question, you'd understand what it's like to be invisible. The tension is unbearable. Your father rises slowly. We need time to process this. I'm sorry about the dinner. We should have found another way. Your mother wipes her eyes. Maybe we can still call Romano's. See if they have a table. But the gesture feels empty, too late. I need some space. Close quote. You say, standing. I'll stay at a hotel. Don't be ridiculous. Close quote. Your mother insists. I need to think. Sophia mutters, arms crossed. Running away, as usual. Her words cut, but you move toward the door. Your father follows. His voice is quiet, almost broken. Kay, I'm sorry. Not just for tonight. For a lot of things. You nod, unable to speak, and step into the night. The Oakwood Inn isn't luxurious, but it offers privacy. Alone in the room, you sit on the bed, phone in hand, when Jessica calls again. I thought your family knew. Close quote. She says quickly. When I realized they didn't, I panicked. I made up the Paris trip to save face. I'm so sorry. Despite everything, you laugh softly. Now they think I meet ministers on private jets. You do meet people like that. Close quote. She reminds gently. Last month in Tokyo. Close quote. The truth presses down. For years, you've lived two lives, one hidden from your family, one celebrated by the world. Tonight, those two lives collided, and nothing will be the same. The next morning, your phone buzzes with messages. Your mother begs you to come for breakfast. Sophia writes a short apology. Your father, never good with technology, simply types, "Call me." Hours later, there's a knock on your hotel door. You open it to find your father standing there, older than you remember, uncertainty in his eyes. "Can I come in?" Close quote. You step aside. He sits heavily in a chair, his hands clasped. "Kay, I owe you an apology. We treated you and Sophia differently. You were always so capable. We thought you didn't need us. But we were wrong." You sit quietly, the words hitting harder than expected. "I was proud of you." Close quote. He continues, voice rough. "Always. I just never told you. I thought you knew. But you needed to hear it. And I failed." Tears blur your vision. For so long, you convinced yourself that favoritism was deliberate. Hearing him now, confessing the truth, shakes that belief. Maybe it wasn't about love withheld. Maybe it was about love misunderstood. Your father's words linger in the hotel room long after he leaves. For the first time in decades, you've heard what you always longed for. Acknowledgement, pride, regret. It softens the edges of the pain, but the hurt is still there, raw and unresolved. The next morning, you return home. The air feels tense, almost fragile, as if the walls themselves are bracing for what comes next. Your mother waits on the porch, eyes swollen from tears, apron twisted in her hands. The moment she sees you, she rushes forward, holding you tightly. "I'm so sorry." Close quote. She whispers, "I thought you didn't need me. I see now I was wrong." Inside, the kitchen looks like a storm of flour and sugar. A lemon cake sits on the counter, your favorite, one she hadn't baked in years. She gestures nervously. "I remembered. I wanted to make it right." Her voice trembles, but for the first time, you sense something different, not dismissal, not comparison, but genuine effort to see you. Before you can respond, the door opens. Sophia steps inside. Her usual brightness is gone, replaced by hesitation. She lingers at the doorway, almost unsure if she belongs in this conversation. "Can we talk?" Close quote. She asks quietly. Your parents exchange a glance and slip out to the backyard, leaving the two of you alone. The silence stretches, heavy with years of unspoken truths. Sophia fidgets with the edge of a pillow. "So you're basically running some huge company." A faint smile tugs at your lips. "Something like that. I looked you up." Close quote. She admits quickly. "Articles, awards, interviews. Why didn't you tell me?" Close quote. You pause, weighing your answer. "Because I didn't think it would matter. I thought even if you knew, I'd still be the invisible one." She winces. "That's not fair. Isn't it? Did you even remember it was my birthday before Mom mentioned cancelling dinner? It's always been that way. My milestones fade into the background while yours fill the room." Her silence speaks louder than any protest. Finally, she whispers, "I'm sorry. I should have said something. I should have told them not to cancel. I guess I just thought that was a dynamic. You were the serious one, the dependable one." Your mother gushes about Sophia's new yoga routine during a family dinner, forgetting briefly to ask about your upcoming conference. Your father sometimes defaults to his old habit of praising Sophia's smallest effort while letting your achievements pass without comment. But now, you don't stay silent. You speak up, calmly but firmly, reminding them that your life matters too. And this time, they listen. Sophia, too, begins to shift. At Novatic, she starts at the very bottom, helping with basic marketing tasks. At first, she bristles at the structure, unaccustomed to earning her place rather than being given it. But slowly, she changes. She works late, asks questions, takes notes. One afternoon, she walks into your office, cheeks flushed from effort. "I didn't realize how much you carry." Close quote. She admits, "This is harder than I thought." You smile gently. That's the point of growth. It's never easy. Something softens between you then, a quiet understanding. For years, you envied her spotlight. Now, you see her struggling to find her own footing, and for the first time, you feel not rivalry, but empathy. Your parents notice too. They marvel at how different Sophia seems, more grounded, more responsible. And in their admiration of her progress, they finally see the role you played all along. The example, the one who showed what it means to persevere. One evening, your father visits your office again. He lingers in the doorway, watching as you direct a team of engineers. When the meeting ends, he says quietly, "You remind me of myself when I was younger, only braver. I build machines. You're building futures." His eyes shine with pride, the kind you once thought you'd never receive. Your mother, meanwhile, champions your work in her own way. She organizes a reading program at the local library, proudly telling anyone who will listen that her daughter's company created the tools they're using. The woman who once forgot your milestones now celebrates you with every chance she gets. And then comes the moment that changes everything. At a major education summit in San Francisco, you are scheduled to deliver the keynote address. You invite your family, unsure if they'll come. To your surprise, they do. They sit in the front row, your mother clutching her program like a precious relic, your father leaning forward, listening intently. Sophia beams at you, eyes full of admiration. When you step onto the stage, the applause thunders. You speak about innovation, about the power of technology to transform education, about resilience and vision. But in your heart, you are speaking to them. Each word carries the weight of the journey you've endured, the battles fought in silence, the victories won alone. And when the standing ovation fills the hall, you see your parents rise first, clapping harder than anyone. That night, over dinner, your father raises his glass again. To Kay, close quote, he says proudly, his voice steady. Not just for the company you've built, but for the strength you've shown. We see you now. We won't forget again. Your mother adds, we thought independence meant you didn't need us. But we were wrong. And we'll spend the rest of our lives making sure you know how much you mean to us. Sophia leans across the table, her voice soft. To my sister, the one I've always admired, even if I didn't say it. The moment feels like closure, but also like a beginning. Months pass, and the rhythm of this new family dynamic settles in. There are still challenges, still old habits that creep back, but now there is awareness. Now there is effort. And that effort makes all the difference. On your 34th birthday, you gather again at Romano's. The table is set with care, your favorite dishes ordered without hesitation. The cake arrives, your name spelled perfectly. This time, when you close your eyes to blow out the candles, you don't wish to be seen, you already are. Because you've learned something profound. Revenge doesn't always mean destruction or fury. Sometimes, the greatest revenge is reclaiming your dignity, forcing recognition not through anger, but through undeniable truth. Your family once overlooked you. They once cancelled your moments, forgot your milestones, and left you standing in the shadows. But now, they see you. And more importantly, you see yourself. As laughter fills the restaurant and your family leans in to hear your stories, you realize this is the victory you've been chasing, not the applause of strangers, not the headlines of magazines, but the acknowledgement of the people who once made you feel invisible. This is your story. Not one of bitterness, but of reclamation. Not one of revenge fueled by rage, but of revenge transformed into respect. And as you raise your glass, surrounded by the family who finally recognizes your worth, you know, this is how your family revenge story finds its true ending. By the end of it all, you realize something profound. You didn't just endure, you reclaimed your place. For years, you carried the weight of silence, of birthdays forgotten, of milestones unseen. But in finding your strength, in building a life so undeniable, you forced the world and more importantly, your family to recognize you. The revenge you sought was never about hurting them. It was about healing yourself. It was about turning pain into proof, invisibility into presence, and neglect into dignity. You stood your ground, and in doing so, you transformed not only your own life, but also the hearts of those around you. Sitting at that table, laughter echoing, cake lit with candles, you know this is no ordinary celebration. It is a rebirth. A second chance. A story rewritten. Your family revenge story doesn't end in bitterness, it ends in balance. And now, a question lingers for anyone listening. If this were your story, how would it end? Would you stay silent, fading into the background, or would you rise, demanding to be seen? Because in the end, revenge isn't always fire and fury. Sometimes, revenge is simply reclaiming your worth. Your journey proves one truth. When you stand tall, the world cannot look away. When you stand tall, the world cannot look away. When you stand tall, the world cannot look away. When you stand tall, the world cannot look away. When you stand tall, the world cannot look away. When you stand tall, the world cannot look away. When you stand tall, the world cannot look away. When you stand tall, the world cannot look away. When you stand tall, the world cannot look away. When you stand tall, the world cannot look away. When you stand tall, the world cannot look away. When you stand tall, the world cannot look away. When you stand tall, the world cannot look away. When you stand tall, the world cannot look away.